Macmillan Audio presents The False White Gospel, Rejecting Christian Nationalism, Reclaiming True Faith, and Refounding Democracy. Written and read for you by Jim Wallis. I believe in the next generation and think they are going to change things significantly. Therefore, this book is dedicated to my sons, Luke and Jack, my new daughter-in-law, Anna Sophia, and to my students who encourage me every day. If you want peace, work for justice. That was said by Pope Paul VI on January 1st, 1972.
Foreword. Written by Eddie S. Glaude, Jr. and read by Leon Nixon. We are in a battle for the soul of America, but it is not, and has never been, simply a political battle. Ours is a moral struggle over who we take ourselves to be and what kind of country we want to live in. The moral question sits at the heart of our troubles today. It has been a central question since the founding of the Republic and the moment of crisis when it felt as if the entire experiment would fall apart. On the eve of the Civil War, in his first inaugural address, President Lincoln understood the moral gravity of the moment. "I am loath to close," he said. "We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union, when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature." Lincoln's words were a hopeful and desperate gesture, an appeal to those preparing for war that they would, instead, reach for their better angels and not secede from the Union. But at the heart of the American experiment, and Lincoln understood this intimately, rested a distorting and disfiguring view that some people, because of the color of their skin, ought to be, dare I say must be, valued more than others. This view took shape in the context of a country committed at once to the ideals of democracy and to the evil of slavery. And that contradiction threatened to rend the soul of the nation. But the break had already happened. Before one cannon was fired at Fort Sumter, American Christendom had split over the issue of slavery. The Civil War had already begun over the moral question of holding another human being as chattel. Some Christians found religious justification for their greed and prejudices. Others condemned the practice. Those held in bondage, and who bore the brunt of the cruelty of slavery, dared, as the theologian Howard Thurman said, to redeem the religion profaned in their midst. This dramatic split would come to characterize the nation's religious landscape, as race segregated the idea of the beloved community, and many were willing to die and kill to maintain it all. Frederick Douglass would put the point more poignantly. The slave auctioneer's bell and the church-going bell chime in with each other, and the bitter crises of the heartbroken slave are drowned in the religious shouts of his pious master. The historian David Wills has insisted that one way to tell the story of American religious history is through this encounter of black and white, an encounter that occurred within the context of a slave system and the world it created, that colors how we see each other and how we imagine being together. And here we are, over 160 years after Lincoln's first inaugural address, still grappling with the moral question of who we take ourselves to be and how a certain distorted view of Christianity sanctifies our hatreds and fears. Will we reach for our better angels? Jim Wallis has spent a lifetime.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?